60 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors to motivators, chefs, and even rappers to up-and-comings with the it factor. It's the Jazzie K Ward coming at ya. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Jazzie After Dark.
See, I thought y'all needed a little spirit, a little uplifting in your life since y'all didn't go to church on Sunday. No, I'm just teasing y'all. Everybody, I am Jazzie K Ward, and welcome to Artist Talk. Happy Monday to you. I see people coming in the room. Hey, Jeffrey. We got the App Life. Dr. Chantel Graham is here. Chef D is here. Of course, we have a special guest, bassist. Mr. Mark A. Walker is our special guest tonight. We got Rose Lady Edmond, who's here with the Jazz Lovers Corner. If you don't know the Jazz Lovers Corner, as we say on the show, right? Shame on you. Are you ready to kick off Artist Talk? Well, I'm so excited. Let's go ahead and kick the show off right now.
Live from WKRW, welcome to Artist Talk, a live one-on-one conversation with your host, the man with the golden voice, Jazzie K Ward.
Artist, thank you so much, recording artist The Owner B, and my friend Mr. Sean LaBelle for that amazing intro. Thank you all so much. Hey, what's up, my friend Mr. Gary Smoot is in the house. Again, everybody, make sure you put where you're watching from. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. It always goes by too fast, right? But what I need you all to do to go over to K Ward Radio, which is my YouTube channel, where we're also streaming live tonight. We're streaming live also on Soul TV, and we're also streaming live on the Roku Network channel inside the Indie Artist channel with Lisa Marie Williams also. KWardRadio.com is my website where we're also streaming. We're on Twitter. We're on IG, y'all. We're on Twitch. We're on all that. If you didn't know that, shame on you, right? What's up, my friend Ace? My friend Altris, my dear friend, high school friend, elementary school friend, all that. Well, we're going to get into the show, y'all, but let me tell you a little bit about my special guest tonight, international recording artist and bassist, Mr. Mark A. Walker. He's a highly sought after session musician within the gospel, soul, R&B, smooth jazz genre. He's shared and worked with artists such as Richard Smallwood, Gerald Albright, Mesa, my friend, Yolanda Adams, and that's just to name a few. And that's why this brother has that it factor. And if you don't know Mark A. Walker, you'll get to know him a little bit more tonight. Shame on you. So, we say that throughout the show, right? So don't forget to put the hashtag and maybe if we have time, we'll give away something. Hashtag shame on you in the chat. So maybe you can win a special gift. But without further ado, let's welcome to Artist Talk, ladies and gentlemen, bassist Mark A. Walker. What's up, Mark?
How you doing, Jazzie? Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you so much.
I'm good, my brother. It's so good to see you.
Good to be seen and good to be on Jazzie Ward Show.
I appreciate that, my brother. I always tell my guys, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule just to have a conversation with me. So as I say, Mark, you'll hear us say shame on you throughout the show. If we make certain comments, that's our hashtag on the show, shame on you. But shame on me for not knowing Mark Walker's son. Shame on me. And I think about it, Mark. I've been in radio almost 30 years and I listened to so much music. And I was saying to myself, it's kind of, like, wow, people ask me, Jazzie, have you heard of such and such? And I'm like, I have not. And maybe our paths have crossed and I play so much music and sometimes it's like, But let me tell you this. The song that we came on, we're playing, I love your rendition of Wade in the Water.
Thank you.
I love that. Did y'all recognize that tune? I like the groove. It was different. It was different.
It took us back to the to African roots. Of course, okay. Mr. Big Dog, Big Dog Chris. Dave produced it. Yeah, incredible song. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I love that, my brother. I love that. Hey, Ricky Allen. What's up, my friend? Rose Lady. And I can't pronounce your name. I know you're in Quebec, Canada. And I'm probably going to say, is it Ute? I don't know if that's right. Ute. Maybe it's Ute. I hope I said that right, Ute. If I did, give me a thumbs up. Okay. Again, everybody, Dr. Chantel Graham is here. But Mark, before we kick off the show, so I do this segment called The Real You. It's just for us to get to know you a little bit better outside of your professional music career. So you don't have to take the questions, too serious. Just kind of fun questions, some of them. So
okay, some of them.
Some of them, right? So my first question is, what were you like in high school?
Oh, I was somewhat a loner, even though I knew a lot of people, but I was still playing music because I was doing grew up in the church, so I played a lot of gospel music. So the weekends were like, we're traveling, we're going to play a performance at this church or this place. So I was already in a musical quartet group, old time gospel quartet group. So the weekends I look forward to because I didn't have the life of a regular kid. We would go out. We were sometimes Friday through Sunday, be away and then get home in time to get enough rest to go to school. Of course, you're doing homework either on the road or before you leave out or as soon as you get back. But yeah, that was me, man. I would look forward to the weekends to play. Playing for a long time.
A long time. I'm going to ask you something else about that when it comes to church and growing up. I'll ask you that a little bit later. Tell me something something favorite that you would like to do that you enjoyed rather as a kid growing up.
Oh, as crazy as it sounds, I enjoyed when we had family gatherings. I mean, family gatherings as the family don't see but a couple of times a year, whether it's holiday season or Thanksgiving. That was a favorite time because we got a chance to see grandma, grandfather, the uncles. So I was more or less really enjoyed that time with the family. I should say that was probably the greatest joy I had as a child.
I like that. I know. I can remember those fond memories growing up. you know, as a young child, you know, in church, where I can say when I would go with my grandparents, Mark, it's like we got to church maybe about my grandmother made me go to Sunday school. I did not like Sunday school, y'all. She said, "You going? You go?" So I was, you know, so maybe 7:30 we got to church 8 o'clock, and we were there till like 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah.
I just Man, I was like, Grandma, it's not that much church in the world. It's just like, so I know you remember those days. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. We can move on from that subject right now. I put my time in for sure.
Yeah. So Mark, let me ask you this. If if we made a movie about your life, what would the title be? And would it be a comedy or a drama?
Well, it'd probably be a mixture of both because of the era I grew up in. You know, I'm an old man. I'm 55 years old, so I kind of grew up in an era where you saw a little bit of both, and you had to make fun of all the bad situations. So it'll be a little bit of both for sure.
I like that. Yeah, I always wonder what would I would say my life, it was like, what would it be? Probably a mixture. Do you have an idea of what you would want the title to be, Mark?
Ooh, no, that's a hard question there, man. I don't know.
You don't know?
Um, ooh,
Be kind of challenging, you think? Like,
yeah,
what can I think about? Yeah. What would the title be? But yeah, you don't have to answer if you don't know. It's not
yeah.
a
No, no, I don't have a title for a movie right now.
like what would the title be about my life? You know, it's
Yeah.
something I have to even ask myself, right? I don't know. I don't know, guys. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with bassist Mr. Mark A. Walker, who is our special guest tonight. If you have questions for Mark, make sure you put them in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer those throughout the show. He also has a new single release. We're going to talk about Duke's Stroll, which is hot. Everybody, every person, radio station across the land, everybody who's watching this program or who even go back and watch the replay, make sure you add this on your Spotify list, your Apple Mix, download it wherever music is sold. Okay, guys, we need you to do that. So, Mark, we're going to just get right on into it. Okay.
Okay.
So, when did you first discover you had your talent, and how did you figure out how to shape it and grow with it?
Well, you know, I grew up in church. Told you as a young teenager, and I was actually living in Arlington, Virginia at the time.
Okay.
And in Arlington, Virginia, we went to church in Washington, D.C. And so I had a love for the bass guitar because my god brother played it, my uncle played it, and I had an uncle that played bass. And of course, I had other family members that sang and played, but the closest ones to me were the ones that I spoke about, my uncle,
Right.
you know, god brother. So when we moved to Pennsylvania, we moved to York, Pennsylvania. I met a gentleman up there. We call him Fuzzy was his nickname, but it's Leonard Rankins. He's an incredible guitarist. He lives in San Diego, California. A lot of people know him in the San Diego area for playing a lot of good blues music. Good musician. He got me started playing the old quartet style music on bass.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, like anything else, you got to put your time in. You got to learn the instrument. And I put time in, man. And any music song that came on the radio, you know, back in the day, telling on myself, we come on the radio, you try to pick it
Right.
out. You try to pick out the notes and just have fun, like trying to learn all the songs I could. I was just soaking up all the information because I was, you know, a kid, you know,
Right.
there was no limitations to learning. So
Right.
that was my PlayStation and Xbox, my bass guitars. So, you know, and so it was a thrill to play. And then, you know, any church service, anybody who needed a musician, you know, I showed up at all the events. It wasn't about money. It was about the love of music. And I think that's where the passion came in because I just enjoy playing good music
That's right.
and playing with good musicians. So that it forced me to be better because I wanted to play with the greats. And, you know, when you're a little child, you're saying, well, one day when I grow up, I won't be able to be on stage or I want
Yeah.
to play with this person. And so I know I had to put my time in. And, you know, as time went on, you know, things start unfolding just like that.
Right. So, you know, during your time of growing up, and I know you grew up in the church, did you have a favorite gospel song that you like playing? Oh, well, let me ask you this. What was your first song you learned how to play? Do you remember that?
Ooh, now that question I will have to go back and dig up myself. But we were listening to a lot of music. So it's like this. you grow up in one of those homes where you're not allowed to bring secular music in, but you
Oh,
have an uncle that plays secular music when you're with them.
right.
So my uncle David, he loved Earth, Wind and Fire. So
Oh, wow.
so I got a chance to listen to that when I was outside the house. And my godbrother, he always talked about Bootsy Collins. Of course, we knew who Bootsy was from the
Oh,
Funkadelics,
oh,
but he
yeah.
was just so madly involved with that. So you listen to anything Bootsy came out with,
Okay.
and then of course church. Back then it was the Hawkins family,
Oh, right.
James Cleveland, whatever you name who the groups were back then. You learn all the music. Of course, when the Winans and Commission came out, yeah, you learn all their songs because it's just different.
Mhm.
It's contemporary music, but then it's progressive as well. So, man, I was just like I said, I was soaking up everything. It wasn't really any specific
Okay.
things that was in line with just any good music I want. But of course, I love the Jackson Fives, Michael Jackson, or
Right.
all the groups, man. I played everything. I mean,
You
behind
played it.
closed doors, people just didn't know I was learning everything.
You were learning so when you practice, I always was curious about this when, like in your house, how have you grew up? If you have brothers and sisters, did they know what you were in there doing? Was it quiet? Were you somewhere else when you were learning all this
No,
secular?
not there was no quietness in my house, man, because we were like the Brady Bunch. My mom remarried. We were like the Brady Bunch, and my dad, man, the man that raised me as my father, really he was my dad. Walter
Okay.
Lee Bynum. He was the guy that took me around. He was my man. He took me around to all the concerts and programs. Made sure I got there safely. Of course, there are other people who were involved in my career, but yeah,
Okay.
they know I'll be in the basement playing. Or sometimes, when the Walkman came out, I know
Oh,
kids that they
wow.
don't know what that is. They're probably
Oh,
thinking that's
wow.
an Atari. But I had a Walkman, and so I'd be in a room, Walkman, one ear out, one ear in, and I'm in the room just learning songs, man. No one knew. I was just they just know I was going through a lot of AA batteries. But yeah, that was about it. But I was learning music, man. Of course they knew. I mean, because the footstep that might be patting my foot 1 o'clock in the morning. They always put us on the top floor. So if you hear that tap, no, that's Mark in the room practicing.
That's Mark in the room practicing. It's so again, Shantae. I remember the Walkman with the strap. Yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember that. And again, everyone, if you're just tuning into the show, I'm Jazzie K Ward, your host for Artist Talk, and our special guest this evening is bassist Mark A. Walker is our special guest tonight. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them there in the comment section. So, Mark, moving forward, even in high school, were you involved in a lot of bands? Did you have a group?
I did not at my high school. Here's the thing: I didn't even learn how to play. I didn't learn how to read music.
Oh,
So I did take a piano lab, and long story short, the piano teacher knew I was cheating. I wasn't learning. I didn't know the notes. I just to memorize everything. He allowed me to play a few special events with the band, but long story short, no, I wasn't really involved because, like
okay.
I said, the weekends the quartet group I was involved with, God's Little Angels, we were rolling, man. I mean, it's pretty
Right.
much like it was almost like every weekend we were going somewhere. So that was my focus, get
Okay.
homework done, so my
Yeah.
mom wouldn't be upset. But
Right.
get the homework done so I can have a free weekend. And a lot of times we were gone. I mean, but a lot of weekends we traveled. So that was really my whole high school, man. I would say from seventh grade till I graduated, man, I was literally working on the weekends, playing on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that was my own allowance money. I made my own allowance money.
When was your do you remember when was your first gig out on the road? Do you remember that one?
The first concert I ever played was in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I can't think of the name of the church, but I do remember the pastor's name was Reverend Hibner because I went to
Mhm.
school with his son Harry,
Okay.
and it was the first time I ever played. I played at their church. We played like 2 or 3 songs. Of course, I was nervous as needles, standing up in front of all them people. But it was, I do remember that. That's one thing I'll never forget. And then,
Okay.
I knew Harry until all through high school. He was a good brother.
It was good. I was going to ask you, Martin. I know you've been playing for quite some time. Did you still get nervous when it's time for you to the lights, camera, action, and the curtain comes back?
You know what? To be honest, I had to say this at a seminar. I think if it does hit me from time to time, it's probably in a smaller arena because you're like in a smaller place, small
Right.
club.
Hmm.
Every now and then I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a happy, nervous just because
Yeah.
you want to play, but never on the big stage. I can almost say never on the big stage like the arenas or
Okay.
auditoriums, 2,000, 3,000 people. You don't even focus on that. But it's something about when people write up on you. I don't know. That's a little different. I've spoken to a few artists who could be
Right.
honest with me. Like, yeah, you know what? If I am nervous, I'm probably nervous if somebody's just sitting right up on me and they're just right there. And then you start thinking, are these people paying attention to everything I'm doing? Because, you look down, they're staring at your eyes, or you look in the room. Like, so I don't know if it's a phobia or
Right.
but if I was to become nervous, it's probably in that situation.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, Mark. Because this weird is like, even like when we have people ask me to host things, and then people are like, well, you've been doing this for so long. I said, well, I'm not scared to do it, but you still have those jitters. And it's kind of weird when you like, if we have an outdoor event, and I know there's probably 400, 500, 600 people here, versus if I'm in a small space, sometimes it may be 40, just say to 100 people there. And I'm like, you're right. They're right up on you. They're looking at everything. They're watching every movement that I do.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of weird. That's weird, y'all. Hey, Angelo, my friend. Again, everybody, if you're just joining the show, we're talking with bassist Mark A. Walker. And of course, he has a new single that is out. It's called Duke's Stroll. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to listen to it. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to come back with a little bit more conversation. And you are watching Jazzie After Dark Artist Talk. I'm your host, Jazzie K Ward.
This is jazz bassist Brendan Rothwell. My friend Jazzie Ward hosts the show Artist Talk every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can tune in and watch Jazzie's show on Facebook Live and YouTube. Jazzie is a great supporter of independent artists, and each week you can tune in to hear him chat with one of those artists and also hear the latest and greatest from the smooth and contemporary jazz worlds. It's important to Jazzie that his audience continues to grow, and it's important to the artists that he works with that their audience also continues to grow. So, Facebook Live or YouTube, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time every Monday evening, or hashtag shame on you.
Hey guys, welcome back to Artist Talk. I'm Jazzie K Ward. Again, we're talking with recording artist and bassist, Mr. Mark A. Walker. And if you don't know this brother, shame on you. Okay. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Angela. Hey, Darren. So, Mark, when we're talking about music, and especially when we're talking about jazz music, jazz to me, it has every bit in it. If it's a little country, it's a little R&B, it's a little soul, it's a little gospel. But what I want to ask you, Mark, is why should people care about jazz music?
Well, jazz is something that one of the main things I realize about playing jazz is improv. Improv is the personality, what you're feeling. Regardless of what you're playing, I think that's what we love about the guys that play, whether it's Coltrane or whoever your favorite is. The improv wasn't necessarily the actual what was in the song. They played what they felt, which is why I think today it's still relevant. Whether you go back and listen to the recordings, and though the recordings may not have been the best, it wasn't in 5K or whatever. The improv is something that can never be taken away from the recording itself, because the improv is actually what the person's actually feeling at that moment. Then you can go to that same song on a different recording, and they feel a different way and they play it totally different. So the improv to me is like it's like you're putting you in the song, which today is everything is a little different. Everything is kind of like synthetic. We got to fit it into a certain box so it can be played such and such. But a lot of times you're not really getting the feeling of the artist, whether they're singing, whether they're playing, whether they're rapping. So jazz doesn't put you in a box. That's what I love about it, because even when you're improvising, even if they edit, they've only edited what you're feeling. So you still have you in the song.
Right.
So that's why I feel, jazz is a very important element of music, period, across the board.
Right. I can remember, Mark, growing up in Ohio, my parents listened to all kind of music. And so people always wonder, I mean, you're such a young guy, but you always listen to jazz. Well, I mean, I heard it from, if it was Miles Davis, I always tell people I heard so much George Benson in my house that
Yeah.
I had no choice but to last, George, my mom loved George Benson, Lou Rawls, Nancy Wilson. I heard all of this music, but when it comes to jazz, jazz allows me, in my mind, because if it's, as an instrumentalist, when you hear artists play music and there's no words, that's one thing that I admired about the gift of jazz, is that I can create my own story. I can create my own analogy with the instrument of the music, because it has no vocals in some of it.
Yes, I agree. Everything you just said is relevant. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So that's just what I like about it. But now, y'all, let me tell you, Mara has a new release called Duke's Stroll, and it's featuring 8-time Grammy-winning trumpeter Philip Lassiter. I think, was it produced by Chris Big Dog Davis and Michael Upshaw?
Michael Upshaw, yeah.
So tell us how did this song come about, and the title Duke Stroll, where did that come from?
Well, Michael Upshaw had brought a song to me, and like he always does, he's the label producer, owner of the label of My Paris Music. And he asked me my opinion of the song. He said, "What do you think, man? I want you to lay something, see what we come up with." And we talked about the producer. Of course, he asked me. It's going to always be Chris Big Dog Davis first. That's my brother. We go way back. And we see what we're going to come up with. And somehow he reached out to Philip Lassiter, and he asked me if I knew Philip Lassiter. And I said, well, Philip played on Richard Smallwood's Live in D.C. anthology. Of course, I've been with Richard Smallwood since 1995. Right. So that was my recording with Richard. And of course, with Phil laced him and the guys laced that recording. And I said, what's a good idea? I think Phil would be a perfect fit for this song. So he reached out to Phil. And everything was like clockwork, man. It was like, because he lives overseas, and we're sitting there trying to figure out how we're going to put this together. And we started, brainstorming what's the best way of doing things, and made it happen, man. I mean, this song came together. And we really want to pay tribute to such a great artist, because sometimes we don't always pay tribute to the ones who've laid the foundation before us, even after they pass. And so, because I played a few shows with George Duke, and you can see that on YouTube, because some people say they play for folks, but there's no evidence. I played with him several times because of the Capitol Jazz Cruise. Mr. Wayne Bruce, who was the musical director, him and George Duke were great friends. And of course, I met George Duke for the first time through my friend David Dyson, bass player from DC. I filled in for him for something George wanted him to do. So, man, George was an incredible person, a musician, but even more, giving the information about music, the ideas, how he got through the hard times. And so I said, we've got to definitely dedicate this. It was a great idea, Mr. Michael Upshaw. And, it was, it came together just like that.
Yeah. So were you and George, were you personal friends? Did you all talk often? Did you play together a lot?
No, I played with George Duke on the cruise. We did about, I want to say I did about 3 or 4 performances with him on the cruise, at least 3 or 4. Well, I'm going to say, I do 2 shows. So I did about 8 performances with George Duke. Okay. And maybe 9, because I did one prior before that, the caucus, one of those national caucus events. Okay. And of course, he remembered me. He was a good guy. And I mean, George was a man of information, because if I see somebody of old, I'm going to always pick their brain about, what do you do? Where's your mindset? What is this about? Because they're the only ones going to be able to tell you, because they walk that path. Even though I'm 55 now, I still enjoy getting information from the older saints and the older people who've walked before me.
Oh, right. Yeah, I love that. Leon Presley, I'm starting to see a lot more jazz bassists since the late Wayman Tisdale passed away.
Wayman, great musician. I met Wayman in 1994 or 95. Yep. I think it was 94, 95. I was playing with Gerald Albright, and Wayman was on the show, and he was the coolest guy in the world. Wayman actually worked with my godbrother Tim Carmen, which is the reason why I was playing with Gerald Albright. And they were doing tracks together. And they called me up one day. He said, "Man, I got Wayman he wanted to talk to you," because Wayman had heard my demo. And he, we had the similar background. Our parents were pastors, and he was a cool guy. Wayman was a first-class act. And you're seeing a lot of good musicians pop up because Wayman had an effect on
Yeah.
the jazz industry, not with just bassists though. It was a lot of people. So
It
I
was a
can't
lot.
even say just because of bassists. It's a lot of musicians came on the scene because of Wayman.
Right. Yeah, such a great guy. I remember having the opportunity to I can't remember where I saw Wayman. I'm not sure if it was maybe once one year at the Sea Breeze, and I'm sure that's
Yep.
probably where I saw him. And I was like, man, I'm trying to think of the song that I play over and over. And I think it's A Summer Breeze. I like the
Yeah.
way he did Summer Breeze. I really like that song. And George Duke, of course. I mean, there's many songs of George Duke, but I love his song. I don't know if you heard this one, Mark, the After Dinner Drink song. Have you ever heard
Uh,
that one?
that's ringing a bell for some reason. It's ringing a bell, but so many songs in my head right now.
Yes.
You can't ask me questions about songs.
It's like, wow. So what I want to do, yo, it's take a listen to Mark's latest release, and it's called Duke Stroll, and it's featuring Mr. Philip Lassiter. And you're going to hear it right here on Artist Talk. And so while we're playing the song, you can go download the song. You can wherever music is streaming. I'm telling you, so this song is it's absolutely a beautiful song. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here is Mark A. Walker and Duke Stroll right here on Artist Talk. So next time, Mark, y'all ask me to be on the track. I can throw down some little ad lib vocals or something on there.
Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna call you on that one. I'm gonna call you on that one, Jazzie.
Call me on that one. You may have to put a little auto tune in there just to, Well, people, I'm loving it. Hey, Gary, my brother CTK, he's like recording artist CTK. Hey, Ron. But wow, Duke Short, what do you want people to take away from this song when they listen to it?
It really was a tribute to George. You want to add the thing about Philip Lassiter being on it was live horns.
Yeah.
And the real instrumentation sometimes can get lost because today people put songs together. You have some stuff mixed with live with mixed, and then the synthetic stuff sticks out more than the live. And you need the live. I mean, I don't care if somebody, if one of the notes are muted wrong or whatever. It's just have that feel on the record. It takes you back to what George Duke would do. How a session would have gone if you go back and you listen. So I mean that was a great thing about doing the way so the memory is we wanted to do something that really represented something he would have liked, an approach he would have possibly had, as well as this was a song dedicated to him.
I definitely love that. And again, everyone, Mark A. Walker is his latest release, Duke's Stroll, featuring 8-time Grammy winner trumpeter Philip Lassiter. So what we're going to do now, Mark, we're going to take a quick break. Dr. Graham is here, and she's going to give us a mind, body, and soul, our health segment for the week, y'all. And we're going to come back and have a little bit more conversation with our special guest bassist, Mark Walker, right here on Artist Talk.
It's time for Health and Wellness Check-In with Dr. Chantel Graham. Tips for the mind, body, and soul.
Dr. Graham is in the house.
What? Oh, that was phenomenal. I forgot where I was for a second listening to that smooth music.
I tell you.
I got my little brown liquor.
I saw your comment on the brown liquor, right?
Brown liquor, so you just shake a little glass, a little ice. I don't even drink brown liquor, but it
was smooth, wasn't it?
That's my mom and daddy. They had little friends over. Everybody had to put the records on with the little 35s and little thing in the middle. Make sure. Listen, that's what we used to do. Hi, Ronald. So today we're going to talk about dermatomes. What is a dermatome? A dermatome is the area of your skin that sensory nerves are supplied by the brain, the spine nerves. So sometimes we think we're having pain and it's related to that area when it really is not, okay? So let's talk about the lumbar area. You have 5 lumbar vertebrae. You have a sacrum and you have a coccyx. That's your lower back. So when you get pain in your back, it doesn't always come from your back. Or if you get pain in your legs or your feet, it doesn't always come from just your feet area. So when you think about your L1, the top lumbar vertebra, that'll cause pain in your groin as well as your upper back, okay? That second lumbar vertebra will cause pain in your, where those thighs meet and they touch, even though some people don't have that. But us chunky people, our thighs do touch and they do rub together. So the L2 will affect that area. Now the L3, that third lumbar vertebra, you're going to get pain across your back, but it's going to go around your outer thighs all the way around to your inner legs down to the top of your knees. Wow. So the pain that could be there could be coming from your back. Now L4 is a tricky one. The pain there will come across your back, the top of your hips. It will come down the side of your legs and go all the way down to the front of your legs, down to that big toe.
Wow.
So if you're getting pain in your toes, it may not be your toe. It could be a nerve from your back. L5 makes it even. And even with the L4, you can have Achilles heel pain. So you may have heel in your pain. You think, oh my God, that pain in my heel is bad. May not be a sprained ankle. It could be from your lower back. Now that last lumbar vertebra, that can be a little tricky because not only does that affect your back, it affects your outer legs. You'll get some numbness and tingling. It's not sciatica. It goes down the back of your leg. It wraps around to the front and it affects the big toe, the second, third, and fourth toe.
Oh, wow.
So you may get some tingling there. Sometimes we have people that have back pain or they get a herniated disc. They'll have what we call a foot drop. So when that nerve is damaged, their foot literally drops. You can't put any pressure on it. It actually physically drops, okay? Now your sacrum is composed of 5 bones. But by the time you come a late adolescent up to the age of 30, those 5 bones fuse to one. but there's still 5 openings. So, if you are a man and you have pain in your genital area, that could be from your back, not necessarily messing with your penis. So you got to think about that before you think, oh, I don't know what happened, but that back pain can wrap around and grab that. Also, the S1 nerve root can affect that pinky toe. So it comes down the side of that leg and affects that toe. So pain that might be in the buttocks or rectum, it could be from your back, not necessarily from that area. And the tailbone is tailbone. If you fall hard enough on that, you will feel that one. That one will hurt.
Right, Dr. Graham, I was going to say this has nothing to do. So this has the pinky toe. That has nothing to do with Fred Sanford and Della Reese in the movie.
It does not unless it gets shot off. If it got shot off, then it's the pinky toe. But your pinky toe can have pain stemming from your S1 nerve root. Okay. So sometimes you may have pain. Oh, my foot hurt, or my ankle hurts, or my leg hurt. It might not be that area. It might be from your back. So how do we get checked out? We go to the doctor, not Dr. Google. We go to the doctor. You can have nerve tests with EMGs, or you can have a MRI or CAT scan. That'll help you declare what that is.
Okay.
So people get checked out. Get checked out.
Get checked out. And as you always say, Dr. Graham, do not use Dr. Google. Go to the doctor.
Do not go Dr. Google, because you'll research something and you would have had diagnosed yourself with like 15 things, and they can all be wrong.
They can all be wrong. And Dr. Graham, we love you. Dr. Graham, I always ask you, as my friend in faith, would you add Duke Stroll in the OR whenever your next?
You do not have to ask. When I get something new on here, I take it right back to the OR. Now I'm going to play his stuff in the morning, because I can see that being a smooth thing. So once you put those IV in and start doing a little sedation, it'll kind of get you mellow back, because you're having a little cocktail in your IV, just not drinking. So just bring on the brown liquor songs. Bring the brown liquor songs on. That's right.
I love that, Dr.
That's
Graham.
right. That's right.
And Dr. Graham, let people know how to find you. Also tell them about your book, Nia the Germinator, which I love. Nia the Germinator.
Yes, we love Nia. Nia's going to be available in Spanish as well. She's a little girl that fights those 4 germ brothers. And by next spring, fall, her second edition will be out. She's going to take on the virus. So get prepared. Get prepared. Go to my website, theapplife.info, or Dr. Graham at theapplife.info. Any questions, hit me up. I'll answer them. 2 forms of ID and insurance card, please.
I love that, Dr. Graham. Dr. Graham is also a licensed life coach too.
Yes,
for people
your, as Tamar would say, get your life. A lot of my clients are older adults who are just trying to figure out that second career. Some people, with COVID, people had to do a lot of changing. And I think people had to sit still and deal with themselves and realize that I was not happy with that other job, even though I probably was making that great money. But what skills do I have? Put them good skills to use. Everybody has good quality skills. We are uniquely us. Put it to skills. Put it to work. You know what I'm saying? There you go.
I love it, Dr.
Have a
Graham.
book on the way. Let's go, Costello. Let's go. We want support. We will here.
We love Costello. We do. Hey, Dr. Graham, can you stick around for the rest of the show?
I'm here for it all. I got my good talk.
Yeah. Maybe Mark will put you on this next.
We go on the road. Let's go on the road. Now, mine took up to my PlayStation 4, but I'm just saying, I'm still playing like I'm a rock star. Okay.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Graham.
You're welcome.
All right. Oh wow, I love it. So hey everybody, I'm Jazzie K Ward again. Dr. Graham is here each and every Monday right here with a health tip, and so we're going to get back to my friend. Bassist, our special guest tonight, Mr. Mark A. Walker. Let's bring him back in the room. Hey, my brother.
Hey, man, Dr. Graham is all right with me.
She is so funny, Mark. She's an amazing lady. Hey, Monica. My friend Heidi Tan is also in the room. So, Mark, as we were talking about your music, and so you've been in you've done a lot, from gospel to jazz to all of it. Is it one you like doing more of, or do you all consider it some of it the same?
There's just different needs. It depends on what I really need at the moment.
Okay.
All of it. Of course, I grew up in church, so of course, church is something I do, but people don't realize I do listen to a lot of jazz and some R&B. And of course, smooth jazz is it's just a new level of music for me right now as far as listening and getting ideas. But all of it. I need all of it. Yeah.
Did you ever think, Mark, growing up and in your adult life, did you ever visualize this being your career path? Is this something you always wanted to do?
You know what? I think initially it was more or less in my mind. It was more or less of I just wanted to enjoy playing good music and traveling.
Yeah.
But I want to say I visualized. Of course, in the church they speak things. You got people who speak things in your life.
Right.
Of course, you had people, and my mother, and people who spoke goodness and prophesied great things to me. And of course, everything is ultimately up to the person to make that decision.
Right.
But no, I didn't. You know what? I knew I would be playing good music with good music because as I got older, I realized I could play pretty much whatever I want, whatever I heard, or whatever I wanted to play on radio wise. That
Right.
I would be doing it. I just never really put the mindset in on meeting so many people.
Right.
The way I met them, it was really a big domino effect, and the way it all happened. Because I started out, in the early '90s, I was playing with Yolanda Adams.
Right.
And, through a friend, Chris, Daddy Dave, drummer for Mint Condition. He's playing for a whole bunch of people now. And also playing with Raymond Angry, who was in the band, and my big brother, I should say my little brother. I call him little brother, but he's bigger than me, but I'm older than him. Phil French on saxophone. We traveled, we played. And then, get a call to play with Shy, the R&B group Shy, remember them from out of Howard? That was another Chris Daddy Dave move. He was going to Howard. I wasn't. And then came off the road, and my godbrother Tim Carmen called me to go out to L.A. and I meet Gerald Albright, and I'm touring. My first date with Gerald Albright and Leon Hathaway was on the Arsenio Hall show.
Wow.
So, it was just, one thing led to the next. And then, Kenny Lattimore, a longtime friend, because he was from the D.C., he lived in the D.C. area.
Okay.
When he got his record deal, I did his first tour. Just one thing led to the next, man. Like I said, to get the call from Richard Smallwood in '95 when you put the group together, and then, go back on and finally meet up with Will Downing through Gerald Albright. And, it's just been good, man. I mean,
Like
I said, I call it the domino effect. Of course, Spur of the Moment, which is DC's own Wayne Bruce, connected to so many artists, man. It's like that's probably more than half the career right there, playing with Wayne Bruce and Spur of the Moment. It's been an amazing journey, and to think that I just love playing good music. It wasn't like what other people think. Sometimes they're thinking you're at home, thinking you want to be a rock star, make a whole bunch of music. But really, my passion was to play good music with good musicians, and it still is.
And it still is. Wow, I love that. Because I was going to ask you, if Mark was not doing music, what else would you be doing?
Ooh, that's a hard question. But I would probably be, I would probably still be involved in, like I do now. I do a lot of one-on-one mentoring with troubled musicians and people who just have issues. So it's kind of like been my forte as far as getting things and dealing with folks. I still like help solving issues, solving problems. That's just comes with the DNA because of my family being in ministry and just being counselors or helping folks on the side. So definitely would be like somewhat of a counselor, big brother, big sister type thing.
Right. I love that.
The organization, of course. I ain't talking about my sister, but get clear that up. But just still involved. Still involved. Yeah, still would be involved with people.
I love that. And I don't know, Mark, you've been in this business a long time. I'm sure you've seen the ups, the downs, the challenges, and you hear so many musicians, some of them just like, Jazzie, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I don't know if you can share, what's been some of your challenges or maybe some things you've probably seen or you can share with other artists that you think some artists they need to do to keep themselves more positioned in this business? Like, what is it that you think you need to do to keep yourself kind of moving up the ladder? And sometimes, you can do those things and it may not still work out the best, but what are some things that you would say that maybe have helped your career? I know that's a lot.
I had to be honest with myself. It was something, a friend of mine's, gospel artist, William Beckton. I'm sure you know who he is, be encouraged. Yes. William Beckton, real close brother. And we talked about having the joy and being honest with yourself. What is it that you're looking for? Okay. And a lot of people aren't honest about what they really want. Like I said, I enjoyed music for playing with good musicians, which is why I think my career has gone on. I enjoy being around good people. So I never put any form of pressure on outside of, I just want to enjoy myself playing good music. Yeah, of course, there's a business side. And you got to realize that And the business side is business for a reason. So you're gonna always run into people who want to take advantage of you. That's just part of life. No matter what you do, doing music or not, there's always someone that wants to take advantage of you. But you got to be honest with yourself, and then surround yourself with people who you know have the best interest for you. And I think you can't accept everything. You can't accept every engagement. You can't accept every concert. You can't accept every session, because it becomes a part of. Then you become, they say, a work hireling or anybody for hire. But then you want to feel special. You're not special if anybody can call you and get you at any given time. So that's not, so you kind of like demoted yourself. And then you've got to enter, like you said earlier, you really do got to invest in yourself as a person, because you got to do something outside of what you're doing. I mean, COVID taught me, okay, you got to go in the other area of other than music. You got to find another joy, and you're trying to figure out, well, why this artist who sold $80 million, why is he doing movies now? Why are they doing TV? Because the music portion thing isn't going to last. You never stay on top of the mountain forever.
Oh, no.
So you got to be realistic about, how long is this really going to last at the level that you're looking for it to happen? Or what can you do forever that that's great, that, that you won't feel insulted that you didn't get the call, or they didn't put the band together and you wasn't picked to be in the band? Are you okay? Whether it's because you're older. It's not even about even your skill set, because a lot of it is people just want a certain group of people around them.
That's true.
And sometimes you look in the band, you look on the, as Sir Charles Barkley said years ago, he said some of these guys are on the scene because maybe they know the owner's wife or something. And you say, just say something joking and crazy, but you get to thinking some people are in these bands and singing and playing because they know somebody in the band.
That's true.
So you can't allow yourself to feel like, oh, I'm not good enough because I didn't get the call. No, some folks are going to call somebody else, whether you're the greatest or not. But then find confidence in yourself to do something for yourself. Stop being the man waiting for the call, and you be the person to make the calls. You finally do something like I did. This is Duke Stroh. This wasn't a full project. We're releasing songs, months at a time. So you can get in the studio and record one song. You're playing for all these people. You're singing for all these people. How about you finally invest in yourself and sing a song for yourself, play a song for yourself, and make friends. You've already made friends in the industry, and I try to stay friendly. I try to speak to the people. And I think that no matter what you do, if you abide by what's true in your heart, you're going to be successful, because then there's nothing to gauge by other than your happiness.
Exactly. Mark, that's what I always say. And I think it's also important to also build relationships, because I'm sure in this industry, it's a connection. And it's just like, Mark, if you know somebody, say, hey, I know this cat named Jazz, and y'all looking for such and such. It's about building relationships. And I think a lot of times you see, I hear a lot of musicians, or I've been in situations where I see different egos, and then I'm wondering like, oh, wow. So I'm a positive brother. So my spirit is real different. So, I don't like a lot of, hey, I'm a professional. I'm here to do a job. Once I do the job, I'm kind of like gone, but when I've been in situations, and I tell a lot of, even some of my other friends, I say, you have to build relationships with people. You have to sometimes humble yourself. You may be the greatest vocalist, the greatest instrumentalist, whatever you play. But, my mom always tell me your attitude will also take you a long way. And I just think that is just so important in anything that you do. And, especially, I think of, this business, Mark, and what I'm also moving forward. And I know we're running out of time, y'all, but could you tell us, Mark, what can we expect from Mark Walker next? Anything you can share with us?
We've got, another single coming out in a couple of months. Let Me Breathe. That's the name of the single. It's going to be hot. And that's what I'm doing. Of course, I'm still with Will Downing. We're traveling. We were in Phoenix this past weekend. I'm looking forward to next week, because I think on 28th we fly to Hawaii. So the last weekend in this month we'll be in Hawaii. So yeah, I'm still doing music. I'm still playing what I can. Of course, when I get home, I do my best to play at my church at Greater Mount Calvary, Washington D.C. Bishop Alfred Owens. And of course, we did something with Richard Smallwood a few weeks ago in Atlanta. That was the first time we did something together as a band in about 2 years. Wow. So I'm still playing. I'm still doing things. I'm in the studio recording. As a matter of fact, I got another song to record tomorrow for some other stuff. Of course, Duke Stroh, working on that remix. There's going to be a remix of that song. So hopefully Dr. Graham will have something else to take into the into the job, the workplace. Yeah, I'm still doing, man. Like I said, I'm doing what's best, as far as for me. I'm enjoying life and also taking time with myself, which isn't always playing music, whether it's
That is true.
going to a movie, see a movie, because I think the pandemic taught me that,
Hmm.
no matter what you do, you got to take care of yourself and you need to be happy too.
I,
And
I
so
think that is
be happy.
that is so important, Mark. And I typically sometimes ask my guests this question, and I know my producer, he'd be like, but I wanted to ask you, what parts of yourself, because I know you're pulled, with you working with so many different artists, you're hearing that. So what parts of yourself do you protect the most, Mark? Mind, body, and soul. What do you do to protect you?
What did I do to protect it? Um, I engaged far enough to know, we all have friends, we all have family members, and I'm a very realistic person. Of course, Will Downing, they get on me because if you ask me a question, I'll answer it. When I've learned that you're not supposed to do that, but no, you got to know how far to engage, because a lot of times your issues that you're having is with someone else, or you're carrying someone else's issues. I had a stroke a few years ago. Actually, matter of fact, during the pandemic, and one thing that I taught and I had to learn for myself was you've got to know how far to be a help to others. There's a line you can't cross so you can stay healthy. So because you have family members, whether you're married, I'm married,
Mhm.
with children, grandchildren now, and I got to be safe for myself as well as for them.
That's
And
true.
don't pour your energy on everybody, including certain family members. You got to do what's best for you to make you happy, and that's what I do. Because there's really no specific answers. You know what makes you angry. You know what kind of like tease you off or takes you over the edge.
Right.
Take care of yourself. I mean, I really believe that we've never taken care of ourselves, especially those who are always helping others, such as yourself, Jazz. You're looking out for folks. And like you
Mhm.
said, you meet people with bad attitudes, and that just lets me know to remind me, no matter whatever I do, don't act like that. Don't be like that. That's my lesson
Right.
learned when I'm around that crowd. Because of course I am. I'm around it a lot
Oh
at the
yeah.
festivals. The egos. You can't go in this room. You got to clear the hallway out because such and such is walking down the hallway. Blah blah blah. And I say to myself, if I ever get to this level, I don't, as an artist, of course I play for these artists, but if I ever come to the artist, I'll never be like, I don't want to be like that,
Right.
because I know how it makes other people feel. And our
Right.
job as people in life, not just musicians, is to be a blessing to others, whether it's smiling, shaking a hand. And it doesn't hurt to say hello. It doesn't hurt to say, God bless you, man. Good to hear you play. Good to hear you sing. Good to see you.
Mhm.
These
Right.
things are positive words. I think life and death is in the power of the tongue, and we got to be better at how we treat each other. That's just my take on life.
And Mark, in the words of that and how you ended that, brother, I'm just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, the doors of the church are open. Mark, my brother, it's been such a powerful and humbling experience to have a talk with you. And Dr. Graham got the collection plate. Y'all put the collection plate. So the collection is, everybody go and download Duke Stroll, and all Mark's music. And I wanted to say this real quick. I understand, producer. I understand. I'm going. I love the song that you did, God is So Amazing, featuring Will Downing. My other favorite is I'll Never Forget. I did my cool down on my workout this morning to I'll Never Forget. I had that in my little work, my little
Wow.
earpods.
Thank you, man.
So I love that. Again, and let people know, what's the best place to find you, Mark, on social media?
Of course, it's Mark A. Walker Music on Facebook. My website is pretty much completed, but they'll be coming soon. Of course, I'll let you know on my Mark A. Walker Music on Facebook. I'll be sure to let everybody know when it's official, but it should be up in like in another week or two, a week and a half, I should say. By the end of this month, it'll be up.
Okay.
Mark A. Walker. My website will be up. And of course, a shout out to Miss Sabrina Taylor. Please forgive me, Sabrina Taylor, for hooking me up with this. And she's the one that handles all the social media. She's the one that put the website together. Sabrina's always the one getting on me, so I'm sure she's gonna say, "You should have said this. You should have said that." I love her to death, man. She's the best. Sabrina is the best, and Platinum Entertainment. I mean,
Yeah.
her, yeah, what she does is incredible. And of course, I'm going to do a shout out on her, even on my social media page about what she does. So
That's
you can
amazing.
support her. But the website's going to be up soon. I'll let you know.
All right. But
Appreciate
yeah,
that. Thank you so much.
she's a beautiful spirit. And one final question before you go. What is your wish or dream for yourself right now?
Ooh, well, overall, my wish is that I'm able to position myself in every area, not just financially, but even have the time to help others that I know that need that push, whether it's music or even, we got a lot of people out there who needs to write their book or tell their story. I really believe, the church doors ain't closed yet, but it's like you overcome by hearing people's testimonies. When you hear people, how they overcame, somebody needs to hear your story. And so don't belittle yourself and what you've gone through, because we've watched people die on things like, well, they didn't deal with what I dealt with, but you don't realize what you dealt with was great. Right. And it needs to be told. So yeah, I just wanted really my blessings to help push people to be where they're supposed to be, so it can be a blessing to others.
I love that, my brother. Again, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest tonight was recording artist and bassist Mark A. Walker. Again, his latest release is Duke Stroll, wherever music is sold. For those who watch this conversation, who go back and watch the replay, I have to give a special shout out to also to Soul TV and the Roku Network, also for broadcasting this show as well. Mark, come back on the show anytime, my brother.
Thank you so much, sir.
And can you stick around for 1 minute for me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, another great conversation with Mr. Mark A. Walker. Did y'all enjoy Duke Stroll? I'm telling you, you need to check out God Is So Amazing with him and Will Downing. And I'll never forget, Wade in the Water, Draw Me Nearer. And if you don't know this brother, shame on you. Hey, guys, don't forget to go over to K Ward Radio, my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. Shame on you if you haven't subscribed. Share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. I'm telling y'all. Right? KWardRadio.com is my website. Any artists would like to be featured on the show, you can mail me your information that is listed here as well as in the chat. If you would like to support the show, no gift is too small. Don't forget, join me each and every Saturday on WVAS 90.7 Alabama State University from 8 a.m. to 12 noon each and every Saturday. Don't forget, my special guest, I wanted to thank Mark A. Walker, Dr. Chantel Graham, Nia the Germinator. Go and purchase the book. I'm telling you, I don't have any children, right? But I read the book. I have, if you have nieces, nephews, kids, it's for adults too, y'all. It is a great, fun book. Hey, my friend Angela, so good to see you. Everybody here in the comments, if I miss you, I'm so sorry. Don't blame my heart. My heart, I see you all. Thank you so much for your support of the show. Thank you, Chef D, for running everything. Chef D is bad, y'all. He's bad. I look forward to seeing you next week for another special guest. It'll be Beth. Beth has a new project. Well, we'll talk about that. She'll be here on the show. And y'all have a great rest of the week. Remember, make sure you take care of yourself and be kind to others. Have a good night, y'all. So